Okay, we are now going to talk about acting against strategies for guilt. So, uh, what is guilt? Guilt is an emotion that tells you that you have violated your own moral code. Okay? You have violated your beliefs, you have violated your values. If you have done that, then guilt is the appropriate emotion. I kind of think of it like bumpers. If you take a kid bowling and they put those bumpers up on the bowling lane so that the ball can't go into the gutter, that's kind of like what guilt is. It keeps you on the path. Okay, you start to go too far over to the side, and guilt says, "Oh, don't go there," and it bumps you back on, and you kind of course correct and get back on a good path. So that's what the emotion of guilt tells you, and the action impulse for guilt is to kind of feel remorseful, be remorseful, act remorseful. With a little bit of coaching, people understand that the appropriate action to do when they've violated their own moral code is to make amends. That's what you do when you've done something wrong. You approach the people that you've harmed, you admit what you've done, you apologize for it, you have some empathy for them and how you've hurt them, you try and repair or repay, and then you make it up to them somehow, and you commit to change so that you don't hurt them the same way again. And if you do these things, you start to rebuild trust, and the relationship is able to be reconciled and saved. But there can be situations where somebody feels guilt, and it's not actually because they have broken their own moral code. It's not actually because they've violated their values or really done anything wrong. But they might be feeling guilty anyway. Now, why would that be? Well, it could be that they're in a relationship or they're a part of a group that has created a set of rules for them to follow that they really don't believe is right. So, for example, someone who's in an abusive relationship, for example, and the rules of the relationship are we don't tell other people what goes on under our roof. And if you do that, then you're betraying me and I'll go to jail and we'll never see each other again and all of this. And because the person wants the relationship to continue, they don't want to be on their own. There's all kinds of reasons why people stay in a relationship like that. There might be some kind of a dependency, or perhaps a substance abuse issue or something, and it keeps them in the relationship even though they're being hurt, even though they know it's wrong. And so when they come out and actually tell somebody what's been going on, especially in authority, they often feel guilty. And obviously that guilt is not justified. It does not fit the facts of the situation. And so what they need to do is get support for their decision. So these will be opposite action strategies. First, to tell again and again what has happened, to get support from other people who've been through a similar situation, and to keep, speaking the truth until that feeling of guilt goes away. Because as you speak out, as you reach out, as you connect to other people who understand what you're going through and can support you in this change process, you start to realize that the guilt feeling really isn't appropriate and what you're doing is the right thing. So that could be for an adult who's in an abusive relationship. It could be for a child who's in an abusive relationship. It could be for a person who is a part of a group that is somehow abusive or harmful, where the group has a certain code of conduct that is actually harmful. People, for example, who are coming out of a cult, and the cult does not want them to say what has been going on behind closed doors. That could be an example. It could be a political situation where somebody's a part of coming out from under some sort of a tyrannical regime that has a certain set of rules that you're meant to follow, and there could be a sense of guilt for betraying their country, even though their country is doing something that's wrong to them and to other people. Could be being a part of a corporation or really an organization of any kind that is doing something wrong. Even a church could be doing something wrong that's harmful to people. And if you speak up, you might feel guilty, like you're betraying people. And even though actually what you're doing is the right thing. And there are just plenty of examples from all walks of life where, because of this fear that they're going to betray someone, that they're going to do something wrong, people stay silent and they stay in a situation that's harmful to them and to other people for too long in order to avoid that guilty feeling. And it's only after they come out and they get the proper support that they're able to make that guilty feeling kind of go away. Okay? So that is guilt. Again, if you have violated your own moral principles, then yeah, guilt is appropriate. Make amends. That's it. That's all you can do. You learn from your mistake, you make amends, you repair it as best you can, and you move on in a way that fits your moral code, your values, your beliefs, your long-term goals. And hopefully the other person forgives you and you're able to reconcile. Okay? But if you haven't violated your moral code, then guilt is not appropriate, and you need to do what you feel guilty about again and again, get support until the guilty feeling goes away. All right. So that's guilt. Now, the last one that we will talk about in the next video is shame, which is guilt gone toxic. So we will talk about that next, and I will see you there.